Hi, everyone. I'm Lori from Kid Made Modern. We're excited to be crafting with you all today. We have a super fun craft with Tessa from Studio Jane. If you've been in one of Michael's classes before with Tessa, her crafts are super fun. We are excited to craft a fun, great outdoors craft with her today. So again, we're in the Q&A. If you have any questions or anything you want to share, feel free to write in the Q&A, and I'll be moderating the session so I can ask Tessa throughout the class if you have anything that you would like to share. Okay, Tessa, I think we're ready.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm so excited to craft with you. Yes, we are going to be crafting these fun little campfires today using felt and wooden craft sticks and making little s'mores on a stick as well. So to go through our supplies, if you haven't gathered everything yet, go ahead and start picking up all your items. We're going to be using felt. And I'm using these felt strips that come in our Kid Made Modern Arts and Crafts library. So they come in all different colors. I'm using some different shades of orange and yellow today to make the fire, but you can make your campfire any color that you want as well. So again, I'm just using these little strips that are about 2 inches by 6 inches long. You can cut your felt down if you aren't using the strips from our arts and crafts library, or you can use any size felt is fine. We're going to be cutting them into smaller shapes for the s'mores and into flames for our campfires. And then we're also going to be using wooden craft sticks or popsicle sticks. So you can use ones that are already colored if you want. So these ones that come in the arts and crafts library as well, but we are going to be painting them brown. So I'm using a Kid Made Modern brown paint in cocoa and a paintbrush. You can also just leave them plain wood sticks, or if you already have them colored, then you can use them and do a little rainbow campfire logs as well. And then you're gonna need some cardboard. So I used cardboard to make our little s'more sticks here. You can also use a wooden craft stick that you could break in half, or a little fuzzy stick or pipe cleaner will work as well. But I just grabbed a little piece of scrap cardboard from a shipping box, and we're gonna cut those down into our little s'more sticks. We're gonna be using some scissors. So scissors are going to be your friend today. We are going to be cutting all sorts of fun little shapes out of the felt. So really any scissors should cut your felt, and we'll go through a couple different ways that might make it easier to cut the felt if you're having trouble. And then we are going to be putting all of this on a sheet of construction paper. So I'm just using a brown sheet of construction paper, but you can use any color that you want. Even just a paper plate or a brown paper bag would work as well, or ask an adult for a piece of computer paper from the printer. Anything like that will work. And then lastly, we are going to be using hot glue to glue most of this down. You can use glue dots. So if you have glue dots, those will work for felt also. You can use a white glue. If this is the only adhesive or glue that you have, white glue will work. It's just going to take a little longer to dry. So keep that in mind as you are using the white glue. Once you set down your felt items in the white glue, it will take a while to dry. So you're just going to want to set it aside before you move your artwork. And I think that that's everything we're using today. So I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera around so you guys can see, and we'll get started. Okay, I know we went over all of our materials, but if you guys have any questions, or if you don't have any material list, definitely drop that into the Q&A and let us know, and we can come up with some different ideas if you're having any trouble or are missing any supplies.
Tessa, real quick, a couple of folks have a question on like the felt that you showed. If they only have construction paper, that'll work too as well, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can definitely do construction paper today instead of felt. You can even use fabric scraps as well, or you can use regular like computer paper and paint it. So you can use any material. We just opted for a felt today, but any material will work.
Okay. And then one other question, somebody said, what do they do if they don't have any sticks?
If you don't have any of the little wooden craft sticks today, you can definitely cut out shapes from just paper or more felt. So you can make your little campfire logs out of brown felt instead and cut strips, or again, construction paper or more strips of cardboard. So maybe you have more cardboard around, and you can cut that into strips as well. Also, brown fuzzy sticks or pipe cleaners, those would work as little logs Or you can always run into the backyard real quick and gather some real twigs and use those also. All right, so our first step, we are going to go ahead and paint our little wooden craft sticks first so that those have time to dry. So what we're going to do, I'm going to move this out of the way. Taking our little wooden craft sticks here, and so you can see I have some here that have little notches cut out of them. Those are just more decorative ones that come in the arts and crafts library. I have some that are pre-dyed also in the library, but we're just going to paint all of them. So again, if you don't have wooden craft sticks or you don't want to paint them today, that's fine. Just hang on real quick. We'll paint these and then we'll move on to the next step. So I'm just going to take my brown paint and I'm just going to do a quick layer right on top. So you can see these ones that even if you have some that are already colorful in your arts and crafts library, or if you have ones left over from a previous project, the great thing about these wooden sticks is that they're really easy to paint over, so you can reuse them over and over again. And just set those down to dry. I'm working on my designated craft table. As you can see, there's all sorts of remnants of crafts on my table. But if you want to put down some extra cardboard or a tablecloth, that's great. But if you are using the Kid Made Modern paint, this is a washable acrylic paint as well, which is great. So have a little less fear about getting it on something because it comes right off.
Yes, Lizzie, you're asking where did we get our paint? Well, shocking enough, we got our paint at Michael's. It is Kid Made Modern's washable paints. It is awesome, awesome washable paints. That's what Tessa is using today. It works really well and it washes out really well too if you happen to get it on yourself.
It does, yeah, it comes off great, and it's still for anyone who's maybe more avid crafter or any adults that are also crafting with us today, it does have a really good like opacity to the paint, so it covers really well for being a washable paint. So it's been really fun to use it, and it comes in a whole little kit, a whole little set, so you get a whole rainbow of colors, which is great. Okay, and then if you want to, you can paint both sides of these. You don't have to, since they're going to be glued straight down onto your piece of paper or your little canvas for your campfire art. But if you want to let those dry, you can flip them over and then paint those. Or if you feel like they need a second coat, like these ones with the orange underneath, I'm just going to do another quick.
Do they need to paint the back of the sticks, Tessa?
No, you don't need to. If you want to, you can, but we're going to be gluing them down onto the piece of paper so you won't see the back.
Okay, and then how many are you painting today?
I'm painting 6 wooden craft sticks. And that's just the number I opted for my campfire, but you can make your campfire bigger or smaller. I would recommend at least 2 to give the idea. We can kind of crisscross those to look like a little campfire. So at least 2 or more is great. Okay, so that's it. Sealed up my paint and set that aside. And then we're just gonna let these guys dry up here. And we'll move on to making the other elements of our campfire. All right, so next is we're going to cut out all of these fun little shapes for our campfire itself. And we aren't using a template today. I didn't use a template or anything when we made the sample. We're just gonna freehand cut them. And with flames and campfires, they are all different. So there isn't a designated shape that they have to look like. I think the best idea is to kind of similar to a triangle, but with a little bit of curve. So I'll show you here. I'm just going to take my felt and starting at the bottom, I'm just going to curve my scissors and then cut toward the top. So kind of like a little teardrop or a raindrop. And then I flip my felt around. I'm going to do this a bunch of times so you guys will see it. So don't worry. I'm going to start at the top to make a nice little point and then curve my scissors down to make a little teardrop or kind of a funky looking little triangle. And we're going to cut out a whole bunch of different sizes in a similar pattern. So again, I'm going to take my felt, start at the bottom of my scissors, starting with my scissors a little bit to an angle toward the edge, and then just round it and cut off. And then at the top of my felt, I'm going to start at a point and round my scissors down in a similar way. And you can get wild with them if you want. If you want to add more curvature to your flames, you can. So you can just rock your scissors kind of back and forth as you cut to add a little bit more movement to your campfire. And once all these pieces, you can already start to see it. Once you start adding more and more of these, they'll start to look like a campfire. So one alone might not look all that much like a flame, but once you get it all together, they do.
There's a few comments about slowing down. We definitely can slow down a little bit. Just know that we'll be repeating this over and over, so you can see as we do it. And this is also being videotaped, or videotaped, I should say, not videotaped. This is also being recorded. So this will be up on 24 hours if you want to rewatch as some of the steps that we do with Tessa today.
Yes, absolutely. So let's go through these steps again here. So here's again, I just have my little piece of felt, taking my scissors, and then I'm just going to cut toward the edge and then slowly move my scissors inward to create a little curve, almost like you're going to cut a circle out. And then I'm going to rotate my felt around and starting at the top to create a little point, and then rock my scissors down and curve at the bottom. And that's the basics of making a flame. So we're going to just keep doing that over and over. And again, you can make them as thick or as thin as you want. If you're having trouble getting a curve, you can also make your triangle, your little flames, more of a straight triangle also, and that's okay. They'll still look like a flame. So if you are having trouble creating more of a curved shape, go ahead and just cut out a triangle just like this, and you can layer lots of triangles together, and that will also look like a campfire once it's all together. You can see a couple pieces here. If we layered all those and mixed in different colors of felt, you'll have a very similar look, maybe even a little bit more modern, which can be fun for someone. So you can definitely do a straight triangle shape if you don't like the curves or you're having a little trouble cutting them. And as you are cutting the curves, if you're having a hard time with the scissors and your felt, I always recommend to hold your felt close to your scissors, but not so close that you're going to cut your fingers. So make sure your fingers are out of your blade, but you want to hold your felt steady and give it a little extra support, and then you can cut right into it. And you can again make these as big as you want. So here's one that's really thick, and then this one's really thin. And once we layer all those together, it'll look like a fun fire. And these, I'm just leaving the bottoms flat since we are covering them. The base of them will be covered either with more flames or with the wooden craft sticks at the bottom. You won't see those, so you don't have to worry about that being decorative or anything at the bottom. And then it's going to do the same thing with some other colors here. So I'm just using it's like red, orange, and yellow felt today, but you can use any color that you want. Fire does have a blue hint to it when it's really, really hot. So maybe you want to add blue to yours or pink. You can do as many colors as you want. Maybe your whole campfire is a rainbow campfire.
Tessa, how many flames are you making today?
Let's see here, 3, 6. We are going to make 16 flames, and you can make more or less if you want. And they all are about 2 inches long. Some of them, again, are a little bit wider or thinner than others, but they are all about 2 inches in height. And again, you can make as many as you want. So if you want to make a smaller campfire, I would say you want to do at least 5 flames or more. And if you're using larger pieces of felt, you can make your flames even bigger if you want, or you can turn your strips sideways and cut it from the bottom up to make a taller flame if you want as well. But as we build our campfire, all these flames at the back are taller, but they're not necessarily longer. And you'll see that as we assemble this, you just can't see the base of those because of these flames that are put on top. So you don't have to worry about them being bigger to cover more space. And then even when you have these little pieces of felt, you can easily take your scissors and cut out a smaller little skinny flame that's great to add in.
Leah has big popsicle sticks to use. That's perfect. Anything that you guys might have around the house is great.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And again, I'm just cutting out different shapes. All of these are unique. So if you feel like you messed up a flame, don't worry, you're not going to be able to notice if there was a little bit of a different shape, or it might look a little bit funky at first, but that's how campfires kind of are. They move and they change. So there's no wrong or right way to do it. So you can just kind of create fun organic shapes as you go. And then again, I'm adding in my yellow as well and just doing the same thing. So just cutting out different shapes. And then make one that's a little bit wider here. So again, I'm just gonna make a point at the top and then curve my scissors out and then back in. So you can see this one is a little bit straighter on one side and a bit more of a curve on the other. And this one's maybe a little bit more even, but they all look good together, and you're not going to be able to notice anything like that might look a little bit funky. We kind of like it a little bit funky.
See, Lizzie, she's having some internet issues. Don't worry. This again will be recorded, so you can find it at Michael's stores tomorrow online if you want to rewatch the video.
Yes, absolutely. It's always great. You can go back and look. Maybe even you made one, but you want to go back later to make another piece of artwork, or you have a friend over and want to recall a craft you did with us before, then you can always go back on to the Michael's website to follow along and make as many versions of it as you want.
Yep, and Christopher's saying, is it one day? Yes, it'll be up in 24 hours tomorrow. So tomorrow, late afternoon, probably around 5 o'clock. Feel free to look at it. There's lots of different crafts on there, so you can check out all the different crafts that they've done in these Michael's classes. And also, Leah's done cutting out. That's great. We love to see your finished products. So I know Lindsay talked about the Michael's #Michael's classes and make it with Michael's hashtags. Tessa loves to see your finished products as well. So
I do.
Tag. I'll put it in the chat, but make sure to tag at Shop Studio Jane. That's Tessa's Instagram handle. If you guys want to check out some of her crafts that she makes, she is a master crafter, I like to say. And also, we're from Kid Made Modern. We're using Kid Made Modern crafts today, so make sure to tag Kid Made Modern so we can see your awesome creations as well.
Yes, definitely. And I always love seeing what you guys make, because obviously we made a sample version and that's what we're making today, but then you take your creativity and turn it into something totally different, which is so fun. So yes, definitely show us what you made. All right. So I've got my 3 different colors of flames here. Those are all ready to go. Again, you can cut out more or less depending on how big you want your fire to be. If you want a big raging campfire, then you maybe want to cut out 20 or 30 little flames. Or if you want a tiny little campfire that's just getting started, then maybe just about 5 little flames will work. Again, we're using about 15, 16 flames today to make ours. So I'm just going to set these aside. We are going to be able to assemble those in a moment. So this is the way I like to build a craft, is cut out or make all my different elements. So we've got our little wooden sticks here, we've got our flames. And so next we need to make our little s'mores on a stick, and then we'll use all of our different pieces to assemble it and make our final finished piece of art. Okay, so moving on to our little s'mores here. They are with felt and cardboard. So we're going to take our brown felt. Again, you can use a piece of construction paper or cardboard as well. And we're going to cut these down a little bit. So I'm going to cut this down into some rectangles that are about 2 inches or so, and then cut that in half. So now I have little 1 inch or so rectangles, and it's going to be one side, basically your graham crackers. So one side of each of your s'more. And then we'll do the same on to make a second. Also, you can make as many of these as you want. If you want to add a whole bunch of different s'mores to yours, you can, or you can just make one. So for these guys, we are going to take a marker, which I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning. So if you don't have a marker handy, you can skip this step or you can do it a little later. And I'm just going to draw a couple little dots on here just to give it the look of a graham cracker. So I'm just going to take a black marker, and then I'm just going to draw a little circle in 5 places on my little graham cracker to give it a little extra detail. Again, this is totally optional. You don't have to do this step if you don't want to. Or you can do the same thing if you want to add little dots of glitter, or cut out little tiny dots with felt to do that instead, or paint. Any of that will work. Okay, so now we've got our little graham cracker squares ready to go. And next we're going to make our marshmallow centers. So to make our marshmallows, we are going to cut these strips down a little bit. So I'm going to cut these in half. And again, these are like 2-inch strips, so I'm cutting them into 1-inch strips instead. And then we want them to be about the same size as our graham cracker, but to make it look a little bit thicker like a marshmallow does in a s'more, we're going to fold this. So I'm just going to set my white strip next to my graham cracker, and then kind of where the base of it is, I'm just going to fold it down and then fold it a 3rd time. So now you can see I just have a little roll of felt. So you can see I have 1, 2, 3 layers all wrapped up together. And you can do this if you're not using felt, you can do this with paper as well. You can also maybe ask an adult for a cotton ball or something like that would also work, or a white pom-pom. So you definitely have a couple different options. So once I've folded it in 3s here, I'm just going to cut off the excess. And then holding it still together folded, I'm just going to open this edge a little bit and take my hot glue gun and put a little strip of glue right at the base. And I'm going to fold that down. We're going to do this one more time for our second marshmallow, so you'll walk through all those same steps. But basically that's how we're going to make our little folded felt marshmallow. Okay. So
if they don't have a hot glue gun, regular glue would work. You just need to hold it down longer. It needs longer to dry, correct, Tessa?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if you're using white glue today, just a craft glue, then I would do the same thing. Once you fold it all together, put your white glue in at the flap and then just hold it together for quite some time. You can always set it aside and maybe take a little paint tube or something like that and put it on top to hold it flat.
And I also would recommend pom-poms for this too. If you don't have what Tessa's using today, white pom, or like a pom-pom or cotton ball would work perfect for this.
Yeah, it'd be so cute. And yours might even look like a thicker s'more. So you definitely can do it with a pom-pom, would be very cute. Okay, so if you are using felt like I am, I'm gonna do this one more time. And I have my 1-inch strip of white felt, and I'm going to lay it next to my graham cracker. And then holding my finger right toward the base so that I know that my marshmallow is going to be the same size as my graham cracker. And then I'm just going to fold this in down. And then, so I have it folded in half once, and then just roll it down one more time. So now I folded it twice. I've got 3 little layers together. I'm going to cut off the extra. and then add in a little bit of hot glue at the bottom. And then we've created a little thick layer of felt to be our marshmallow. So we've got 2 little folded felt marshmallows, and we have 4 graham crackers, 1 for each side of our s'more. So we are going to go ahead and assemble these first. And again, I'm using hot glue. You can use white glue for this step as well. You're going to follow the same steps. Or you can also use a glue dot. If you're using a glue dot, just put a glue dot on the inside of both graham crackers. So I just turned over my graham cracker here, put in a little bit of glue, and I'm going to layer my marshmallow felt right on top, and then take my second graham cracker and layer that on top of that.
You're saying it looks so delicious, Tessa.
Doesn't it? I know. We need to go make real ones after this. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing. So taking your graham crackers, flip them over, and then put a little stripe or a little dot of glue on each. Take your felt marshmallow right in the middle, and then layer the other one on top. And if your marshmallow is a little bit too big or a little bit too small, don't worry about that. It's still going to look like a yummy marshmallow if it's not the exact right size. Or you can always cut your graham crackers down a little bit if your marshmallow ends up being a little small. If you're using pom-poms that are maybe small, you can always add 2 of them inside instead of just 1 also. So just that they're relatively the same size. So now we've got these guys, but we want to put them on our little roasting sticks. So to do that, we're going to use cardboard. So again, this is just a little scrap of cardboard I just cut off of a shipping box, but you can use another wooden craft stick if you want. A little fuzzy stick or pipe cleaner will work, or you can use a piece of a paper straw, cut a paper straw down, anything like that will work to make a little stick for our s'mores to be on. Since I'm using cardboard here, I'm going to cut my cardboard into small strips. So I'm just gonna take my scissors and just cut a little strip all the way down the edge. Let's see, just have a little, very thin, about a 1/4 inch or so. And then I'm going to cut that down. So now I have, it's about 2 inches long. I'm gonna do the same thing with this other one here. So now I have 2 little strips. So again, super quick, but very easy. You're just gonna cut a strip. Show you one more time here. And you can make them bigger if you want, but I'm just making them about a 1/4 inch strip, and then just cut that down from there. So you just have these skinny little strips of cardboard. You can also go and find little twigs in your yard, or when you go for a walk or to the park, and you can use those also. Okay, so to attach our little strips to our s'mores, we are going to use glue again. You can again use a glue dot, or you can put a little dollop of white glue right inside your s'more. So that's the great thing about this, since ours has a little pocket that it's easy to do. But if you are using a different material, you can still be able to just add in your little stick right inside your cardboard, or right inside your felt or material that you're using. So I'm going to put mine right inside the middle of this, and then just kind of pinch that down to make my little s'more on a stick. But again, if you are not using felt, if yours does not have this little pocket that's easy to put your stick in, then you can just open up your little graham cracker, if it's paper or cardboard or whatever you use, and just place your stick right underneath your pom-pom or anything like that, and it will still look the same. So again, I'm just going to put a little dot of glue. You don't need a whole lot. Even if you're using white glue, you don't need a ton, and that will help it dry faster with the felt. And then just hold it, pinch it tight for a couple seconds. Again, if you're using the white glue, you might just want to hold it a little bit longer to make sure that it starts to adhere. And then you have 2 little s'mores ready to go. All right, so I'm going to set our s'mores aside. If you guys have any questions on s'mores or want us to make another one, let me know. But again, you can use all sorts of different materials to make something that looks very similar. Your goal is really just a little layered sandwich and using something white in the middle to represent your marshmallow. Okay, so now that we have all of our different pieces, we painted our wooden craft sticks, they're dry. We've cut out all of our different felt little flames. Maybe yours are paper flames instead, or fabric, that's fine as well. And then we have 2 little s'mores on sticks ready to go. We are going to start assembling. So to assemble your artwork today, we're going to start with layering in our little campfire logs first. And to do that, we are going to glue one down first. So I'm going to do this, try to do this slowly for you guys. I'm just going to put a little dollop of glue. So I put a dot of glue on each end, but not in the middle. And that's going to be easy for us to slide a little piece of felt in underneath afterward so that we hide all of the ends of our felt. So I'm going to take my little wooden stick here. I've got glue dots on both sides. And then I'm just going to lay it down sort of in the center of my paper, but at an angle. So you can see now, there's my first little log. I've laid it down. It's going at an angle, a little diagonal, and there's a little bit of gap underneath in the center. So let me show you here what that will look like. So if you only put glue on both ends, then that way there's a little bit of a gap here underneath, so that way we can slide our felt right in. This end, okay. And then we're going to do the same thing with multiple of our little craft sticks. So again, if you are only using a couple of them, if you're using 2, then this is where you're going to want to take your second little stick and just crisscross it right over to make a little X. And you can make sure to hold down one side and then push down the other so that it holds on both ends going over. This one you might want to hold a little bit longer to make sure that the little wooden craft stick underneath it, that it can still grab both sides of your paper. And then from there, we can start layering them, and we're just going to start adhering or gluing one craft stick to another. So you can take your little craft stick here, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue right on top of my wooden craft stick, and then put that on top of that. So now you can see we're just going to start layering them together and crisscrossing them back and forth so that they look like a little pile of logs. And I'm going to add another one a little bit further down. And you can take, so again, I'm just kind of crisscrossing them on top of one another. So we have a nice little pile of our twigs here, or logs. And I'm going to take my last one. And since there's a little bit of a gap in between, I'm going to add in one more kind of underneath here. And you can see we've got a whole little pile of sticks. It might not look like a full campfire yet, but once we add in our flames, it will definitely look like one in a moment. So you can see we've just layered them on top of one another. And again, you can use as many as you want. So if you don't have 6 wooden craft sticks today, that's fine. You can just layer 2 or 3 instead, and it will still have the same look. Okay. So now that we have our little campfire logs all stacked up, we're going to start adding in our flames. So I'm just going to take some of our flames, and we're going to make sure to only put glue toward the bottom of our flames when we glue them down, because as we build our fire, I'm not gluing them down, I'm going to show you first. We're going to attach them at the bottom so that way we can easily add in more flames behind it to make our campfire tall. So if you glued down this entirely, then it will be hard for you to layer in underneath, and then you'd have to layer on top, and you'll get that little edge of the bottom of your flame showing. So to start, we're going to take our little flame here. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue at the bottom, and then I'll be able to just slide it right underneath those little wooden craft sticks. And then you can see all up here, I can move my little flame. Afterward, if we want to, if you feel like your flames are kind of floating, then we can always add a little bit of glue to other flames behind it. So we're just going to start, and I'm going to switch back and forth with different colors. I'm just taking a tiny bit of glue, and I'm going to pull up my little wooden craft stick here and push it right underneath.
Tessa, Lizzie had a great idea. She used a black marker to lightly on her sticks and to make an ash looking.
Oh, that's such a great idea. So cute. Yeah, you can definitely add in some different elements to your flames or to your logs to make them even more artistic. I would love to see those. Okay, again, I'm just taking a tiny bit of glue here, and then we're going to slide it right underneath our little wooden sticks. So you can see we've started our whole little fire here now, and all of the edges are shoved in underneath our wooden craft sticks, but we have space. We can pull all these up still so that we can add in more flames behind it. So from there, we're going to do the same thing though. I'm only going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom, and then I'm going to pull my flames forward and slide in a flame underneath it. And we'll keep doing that throughout. Again, just a little bit at the bottom. Flip your flames forward and slide a flame underneath. We're gonna just keep building this up. And you can add in as many as you want. I think it's great when they overlap a lot. You can, again, add in more as you go. So we're going to kind of do this in layers. And just keep putting in some more. And then as we move on to a third layer, you can kind of just fill in between as you want to. You can see the more you add in, the more layers you add, the bigger your little fire gets. And you can add little ones. You can always cut more if you run out, or if you feel like you want to add in some smaller little flames somewhere. Or if you feel like some of your flames are all the same size and you want to add in some smaller ones, you can always take one that you already have and just cut it down a little bit. So if you feel like you want to add in a little skinny flame somewhere instead, you can just go ahead and cut those down to add in an additional little skinny strip. So I want to add in another one down below here. Sometimes as you build your composition, your artwork, you start to feel like, oh, it looks a little empty in one space or another. So you can always go back in and add more wherever you feel like it needs something. And then from here, if you want to add in any other colors or elements into your fire, you can do that as well. And you have a whole little campfire here. Just gonna see where else we want to add some in. You can make it as big as you want if you want to keep growing it, or if you want to make it just a little campfire, it's totally up to you. And then since we glue from the bottom, you can see here, it has a pretty three-dimensional look. So all these flames are kind of sticking up. And that's kind of fun. It makes it feel really textured and alive like a campfire. But if you want to, you can always go back in afterward and add in a little bit of glue at the top to glue anything down that you feel is loose. But otherwise, you've got a full campfire, all beautiful and put together here. So last step is adding in our little s'mores. You can also keep these separate if you want to maybe play with your campfire instead of making it artwork. Then you can easily make believe with these and roast them over your fire if you want to. Or I'm just going to add a little dot of glue on the back of one and place it near my logs. And this one, if I want it to stand up a little bit, I'm going to put a little bit of glue right on one edge and hold that in place for a moment to let that stand up. Or you can just lay them both flat. And get that guy to lay down a little bit. And then like that, you have created a whole campfire and some more set. You are ready to go camping or to go outside for the summer. And again, you can get creative with this if you want to add in more flames or less. It's totally up to you and what materials you might be crafting with today. Obviously, we used a lot of felt, but we talked about you can definitely use construction paper or even paper plates or paper bags, and you could cut those down and paint them. So you can make this over and over again with all sorts of different materials.
Awesome. And Leah just said, oh, Lizzie's going camping in 2 days. And Leah just said that this was lots of fun. So
oh, well, thank you. I had so much fun crafting with you guys. And I'm so jealous you're going camping in 2 days. I'm going camping at the end of the month and I can't wait.
Awesome.
All right.
Do you want to share what our next class is with Michaels?
Yes, I'd love to. So if you guys want to come and craft with us again, which I hope you do, in a couple of weeks, we are going to be making these fun popsicle themed cards. And these are perfect for Father's Day, to let your dad know that he is the coolest. And we're going to be making all different styles, and you can put little faces on them if you want, or sprinkles. And we'll go through all the steps of how to make a great little popsicle themed card. You might want to make them for a friend to let them know that they're cool, or just a fun little gesture for summer. So definitely come back and craft with us in a couple weeks, and I can't wait.
Awesome. Yeah. And guys, make sure to follow Tessa again at Shop Studio Jane and us at Kid Made Modern. We had so much fun crafting, and we hope to see you all again soon.
Yes. Thanks so much, you guys. Bye.